We're talking to AeroMech's Anthony Wiederkehr, COO, and we had an invitation which unfortunately weren't able to take advantage of this time, but I'm looking to in the future, where they're flying around a King Air installation of Starlink. Probably took the one off my roof, huh?
Yeah.
But at any rate, talk to me about your program, how this came about, and just how it's working out so far.
Yeah, so we're an STC ODA based in Everett, Washington. I know that SpaceX in particular, when we initiated conversations with them, they were interested in working with ODAs. And we selected the King Air model just because we know Starlink is a very innovative technology. At the time, we weren't sure of all the applications that it would have in aviation, but the King Air as a utility aircraft that's used special mission, government, commercially for all kinds of different purposes. We thought that was a nice kind of a safe vehicle to go, and as well as the fact that King Air's got a nice flat top, that aero terminal. We thought there would be a good way to put that on the airplane.
Good platform.
Yes. Yeah.
Indeed.
Yes.
So what are you learning from the process right now?
From the process of the installation?
Yes.
Yeah, I think the main thing that we're learning just really recently is on the test flights and just trying out the system and seeing if it is as advertised. And we did quite a few test flights the last couple of days down at AFW, and it was the things that I'm learning is just how important the latency difference is. Mm-hmm. The latency difference, we were advertising under 100 milliseconds, but we were under 30 milliseconds for all the test flights. Mm-hmm. So that part, and just
Starlink is improving on that issue.
Yes, yeah, I think that's one of their big drivers right now is trying to get the latency down consistently. And I think their other big goal is to have no 1 second or 2 second drops in coverage. They want literally none.
Yeah.
And that company, they want to optimize as much as possible, and I can appreciate that.
Well, we're seeing Starlink being used in some interesting ways, especially with the recent Starship launch. Some of the footage we were able to get off, especially, good God, we're getting video through the plasma phase, the ionization layer, through reentry, and it's working. And I'm sitting back on this and kind of going, what the hell? Seriously, how do you do that? And I can't wait till the next time. It's really been extraordinary. So to a certain extent, maybe GA and BizAv is going to be child's play for them. We'll see in the long run.
Yeah.
What kind of speeds are you getting right now?
The upload and download speed we were seeing between about 40 megabytes down and up to peaks of up to 300 megabytes. Mm-hmm. It fluctuates a lot. Anybody that knows throughput, it's they're fluctuating measures, but that was the range that we were seeing. And upload-wise, we were between 5 and about 35 megs upload. Okay. I think in terms of like an average, when we look at the performance measures, we're at about 8 megabytes up on average, and down we were in the high, like we were near like 75 to 80 megs, if you were to just kind of average out the numbers I was seeing. But as you mentioned, people like to get caught up in advertised speeds, but there's a lot more to connectivity than that. Yeah.
Indeed. From an operational standpoint, what's required? Is it just as soon as avionics are powered up, is the system on, or is there something you need to do above and beyond that?
Yeah, great question. So the Starlink system is a standalone system, and so there's a dedicated power supply that powers the antenna.
Okay, good to know.
Yeah, so there's no need to tap in any aircraft onboard systems. It's literally just power and ground. And part of designing the STC installation was to accommodate a simple architecture, and that's what they started with something, and then they tried to take away and scale down as much as they could to reduce installation time, and just make it quite straightforward to onboard onto aircraft quickly.
Well, obviously, with a program like this, the biggest obstacle, if you will, is going to be antenna installation. Mm-hmm. So how did you solve that overall?
Well, the King Airs especially, right? Because they're a big antenna farm, so that's a great point. And what we've done under our STC actually is we've approved a range of locations in all the documents that need to substantiate the OML change that results as a result of the antenna installation. Mm-hmm. So our aerodynamic loads, icing, other documents that address that OML change, we have a range of locations that are approved for the antenna. a purpose in doing that is to accommodate special mission configurations. If there's a particular area they would like to put the antenna, and we talked a lot about the fact that they are antenna farms, and inevitably sometimes you'll have to relocate a UHF or VHF antenna of some kind to a different location. But the King Air, the way Textron's built that aircraft is pretty well set up to do that fairly seamlessly. So it's not something we see as an iterative process, but could certainly come up.
Although for the moment, the Starlink antenna is not the smallest thing in the world. So getting something that, getting an installation that fares in properly with the aerodynamics as well as the structures has to be a real interesting exercise.
Yes, yeah, you're exactly right. And it's all about optimization with Starlink. I mean, they really want to optimize, and that current size of the antenna is an optimized shape and size. They have said that that's the perfect compromise between performance and size, and so I think the end goal, at least to start, is to try to figure out how to safely integrate that antenna on as many different aircraft platforms as possible.
Okay, how far are you away from commercial deployment at this point, do you think?
With our STC?
Yeah.
Oh, we issued it.
Okay.
And we actually issued it on March 9th, but we publicly announced it this week.
Okay.
So it's now
Should
available.
read my own news. Sorry about that.
No worries. It really, we just announced it and started to make press on it 2 days ago.
Okay.
So, but yeah, it's out, and we're able to sell it. There's a dealer network that Starlink has set up with a lot of the big folks that work on King Airs. And you can procure the equipment through a dealer, or dealers can procure directly with SpaceX, and then we just have the STC.
What model King Airs does this apply to for the moment?
Yeah, good question. So it applies to everything that Textron has manufactured from the King Air 200 all the way up through the 360s.
Okay.
So there's actually 17 different Super King Air model variants, but it does not include the 90s. It does not include the King Air 90s.
Oh, that's a bit more ovoid in the fuselage anyway. So
yeah, exactly.
That'd be an interesting game.
Yeah, that would be. Yep.
Yeah. Costs?
So cost for our STC and PMA package is $69,000. The MSRP for the Starlink equipment is $150,000.
Okay. And operational expenses?
Operational expenses, I don't know those offhand. What I've been told is that a lot of the MROs have looked at the ICA and said, "Oh, this is not going to be anything." If there's no annual requirement, we tried to sync up anything that you had to look at or any inspections with normal King Air maintenance intervals. So I don't think there's going to be anything there that's going to surprise anybody.
Okay. Yeah, I've heard some numbers from a variety of different sources, and I was joking with one of the Starlink folks a week before last. I said, "Man, doesn't this qualify as a recreational vehicle? Come on, man, just keep it up, keep the prices down." But I also look at the pricing they have for the cruise ships and all, and I'm just going, "Whoa, shit, ouch."
Yeah.
I'm glad I'm not in that business.
Yeah, right.
But at the same time, it does the job, and that's all you can ask for.
Yeah, I think there are a lot of use cases where that the technology that they're selling is, it's a good value proposition for a lot of different missions.
On top of that, when you start integrating next generation antennas, because I've seen some stuff coming all up the line, and I'm pretty excited about that. What they've just done with the residential stuff has been remarkable, but what's coming down the line, or what they're telling me is coming down the line, it's going to be very impressive.
Yeah.
We're not quite to handheld, but we're getting there.
Yeah. And Jim, as you mentioned, it's just it's a dynamic company, and they move quick. So yeah, you're right. It's going to be interesting to see what happens.
What other airframes are you looking at this point? You can't be just you can't be satisfied with just King Airs.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, we've discussed other airframes. We haven't yet really decided what's next. There's been a lot of discussions on what the priorities would be, and of course, looking at ways to meet some of the airframes with the size of the antennas. Something that, again, we want to kind of optimize and evaluate fully before we jump into anything else. So there's definitely other potential programs in work, but we don't really have anything right now that we can announce.
How is the industry receiving you? This has been an extraordinarily competitive segment of the avionics community. We were joking before with Ryan from Smart Sky that we think all the connectivity guys are going to start showing up with baseball bats and protect their turf. But this is something new. This is something that's recent, and with some very entrenched, very highly invested companies. How do you compete with that?
Yeah, I think really, I mean, I have to credit Starlink more than anything we've done. I mean, just in the last 6 months with some of the changes they've made on to accommodate business aviation King Airs, I think it's really opened up the market quite a bit, potential market. And so, you know, we've seen a lot of interest at the show. I think I think they've done their research, and then once they knew what they had to do in terms of subscription and pricing, they just moved quickly and set up a dealer network. And so I expect there's going to be good uptake here. I think a lot of people are excited, and especially internationally, I think there's good excitement there as well. So of course we'll continue to go through a validation of our STC and try to get it out to as many certifying authorities as we can.
Cool. Well, you have to keep us up to date on what you're doing, and somewhere down the line, maybe we can meet up and fly the system and see it for ourselves.
Yeah.
I'm really interested in looking at the installation. That's got to be fascinating. And more important, everybody's got a different way to do things that require modification of the aircraft, and that's always been a fascinating additional issue for me to look at, because boy, there's some real creativity when people start ripping up interiors and start laying down cable and figuring out what bulkhead's going to support this and that. It's fascinating to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. No, would certainly love to keep you and your channel in touch with all updates as I can provide them to you. And yeah, I fully expect we'll have more updates coming up here in the next months.
Good deal. How can people get more information on what you're doing?
Yeah, great question. We our website, aeromechinc.com, we have a page that has an overview of the system. There's Starlink sales at aeromechinc.com. We'll also give you that information. There's a press release that was released by Business Wire that kind of goes over the highlights of the system and what the benefits are. And of course, if there are any other questions, there's contact information on our website, and that'd be a good way to get specific questions about a particular King Air, or if I can put the antenna here or put the LRUs there, so that would be the best thing to do.
Super. Yeah. Anthony, thank you so much for your time. I sure appreciate you being able to take the time to work with us. And again, sorry we missed the flight. We'd like to have tried it and see if everything speeds along as we expect.
Yeah, we'll try to get you on one, Jim.
There we go.
Aero-News Network's coverage of the 67th Annual AEA International Convention and Trade Show, live from Grapevine, Texas, is brought to you in part by the following sponsors: